All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dids in the Dugout. Got a real special guest with us here today, future Ole Miss ace JT Quinn, coming off of a really good freshman year for the Rebels. Started out coming out of the bullpen and then doing midweek games for us, and with the stuff that he flashes, stuff that he brings, the big fastball in particular, able to work his way into the weekend rotation come SEC play and really showed flashes of being a really good pitcher here for the Rebels, leading into a second year in Oxford here in 2024. JT, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing really good. How are you?
Oh, doing pretty good. Just trying to stay
Yeah.
warm with all this ice and not so much snow. They kept talking about all the snow
Yeah.
we were supposed to get, and I haven't seen any of the snow. We just got sleet for like 24 straight hours.
Yeah, just saw a little bit of snow, but it's not a lot of ice, like you said.
Yeah,
A lot of ice
yeah.
on the roads, not fun to drive.
Yeah, no, I have not entered my vehicle once since all this
Yeah.
started. Pretty self-sufficient here at my house up on my little hill, so
Yeah.
everything I need is right up here. Got plenty of food, got like 4 grills and something to
Perfect.
fry in if I need to. And if I run out of food, I've got a 38-acre lake back here. I can just go snatch me a catfish out or something like that if food gets
Yep.
too thin. So
Way
so
to
we're
go.
we're ready to roll over here. But yeah, like I said, I really appreciate you joining us here today. You're one of the players leading into this year that I think a lot of people are really expecting to take that big jump. Anybody that's listened to me talk to players on this show previously always hears me talk about the year one to year two jump that pitchers in particular usually take under Mike Bianco. This being his 24th year now in Oxford, which is kind of crazy to think about. I
Yes.
remember the day we hired him way back in 2000, and it's just kind of seems to be the thing he always does. He goes and finds pitchers and he develops them, and the year one to year two jumps always real big. So first of all, just kind of take me through. What you've been focusing on this off season to get ready for what a lot of people expect to be a really big year for you taking on that ace role for this Ole Miss baseball team.
Yeah. I think a lot of us just seeing last year and the way everybody performed, and obviously it wasn't good. It
Mm.
was something that we all are really kind of fired up about. We want to improve. We want to be better for the fans, for us, for everybody. But yeah, we all of us tried to kind of just stay in the strike zone more. That was a big thing for us. We'd far too many walks last year. Um, we had really good stuff, but we walked too many guys. We struck out a lot of guys. We walked a lot.
Yeah,
So that's a big focus for us. We want to be in the strike zone. We want to dominate the strike zone, um, and just be able to throw all our pitches in the zone. That was kind of the biggest thing is we all have the stuff to do it. We all have the stuff to be really good SEC pitchers, but
hmm
it doesn't do anything if you can't throw it in the zone. So
yeah,
these guys are too good to not throw it in the zone and hope they swing. Like they're
yeah,
not
yeah,
gonna do that.
yeah, yeah. Guys at this level don't really chase a whole lot, do they?
No,
That's
not at
probably
all.
the biggest difference
Not
I
at
would
all.
imagine. And you talking about last year, obviously it didn't go the way y'all wanted it to, fans wanted it to, anybody that follows Ole Miss baseball, right? It was obviously a disappointing year. Um, really battled a lot of injuries on the mound though. The pitching staff really had a bunch of injuries. With what Hunter Elliott dealt with all year with his elbow, and other guys going down. You lose Josh Mallett before the season even starts. And that's your big dominant bullpen arm, and you're down a huge piece right there, right
Yeah,
out of the jump with those two guys. And then it's guys like you and Grayson Saunier, and y'all are both freshmen. Then Rivas comes over from Division Two, and he obviously had a really good year for us too, just like you and Grayson did. Obviously there was growing pains and bumps in the road, stuff like that, but that's to be expected with true freshmen
yeah.
coming into a league that's this good. The SEC is just an absolute bear from top to bottom. So kind of what were your thoughts though? Your first year in Oxford, going through the grind of an SEC schedule, and facing all of these really good teams week in and week out.
Yeah, it was obviously tough. Like, I think anybody could see it was tough. Um, but it was such a good learning experience. Like being able to go through that, face guys like Dylan Cruz, Wyatt Langford, even our guys, Jacob, Calvin, Kemp, all those guys. It was a big learning experience for us, and something I definitely don't take for granted. I know I've talked to Grayson about it. because we were obviously kind of in the same spot.
Yeah.
And it was just as much as it did suck losing so much and just being just a really bad baseball team. Um, I think that was the best thing for us to come back this year and have so much experience, have so many innings under our belts, and just be able to learn from it. Being able to see the success that I don't know, guys like Paul Skeens or
Hmm.
just those type of guys that like what they do, how they perform, and why like what makes them successful. Obviously, they have great stuff, but like I said earlier, they throw the ball in the zone at a high clip. So
Yeah.
it was just a really good learning experience, I think. So trying to look on the bright side, obviously,
Hmm.
which is kind of all we can do at this point.
Yeah, yeah, and kind of back to your point about throwing the ball in the zone, right? With hitters as good as they are in this league, everybody always hears me talk about the number 27. You got to get 27 outs, right? That's the
Yeah,
big number every single time you step on diamond. You got to find one way or another to get to 27 outs, and keeping the ball in the strike zone, not putting people on base and running pitch counts up is
yeah,
definitely one way to do that, right? You don't want to give up outs. Defense I thought played pretty well behind us most of the year last year.
yeah.
Obviously having a guy like Peyton Chatagnier up the middle
That was awesome.
is quite a luxury, right?
Yeah,
There's not a whole lot that gets by him, and
no,
Jake up there at shortstop. But we've got two new guys up the middle going into this year. I think Bleav is going to end up taking over at second base, and then you bring in Luke Hill from Arizona State, a guy that also had a really talented freshman year over at Arizona State before transferring in here. Kind of what is it? What are those guys looking like up the middle? Is that such a big part of the defense? Everything starts up the middle, and you got you get a new catcher, a new second baseman, a new shortstop there, but you get the luxury of having Ethan Groff back in center field, right? So just
yeah.
kind of what's that part of the defense and the team looking like up the middle defensively for us?
Uh, Up the middle looks unbelievable. I mean, we've obviously those 2 guys that you mentioned, they look really good.
Hmm.
Hill's impressed me. He came in with high expectations with everybody, but I think he kind of blew those away, especially offensively. But Leger, we knew what we were getting. Like
Yeah.
he was amazing in fall last year. He kind of started off slow in the spring, but he picked it up towards the end, and his glove was always there. It was always a really good glove, and moving him to second base, I don't know if that's. I think that's probably what's going to happen. But we also have another guy, Braden Randall. I know there's been a lot of buzz about him in the fall season, but
Hmm.
he's been he's been unbelievable. Like he's pushing for a starting spot, and that's tough to do when you bring in I don't know 4 high level transfers. You know,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
pretty impressive for a
it's
freshman.
new guys all over the place right now,
Yeah.
but that's one thing to be really excited about too. Just kind of a quick note on Leger. One thing that I was always so impressed with him last year, kind of like I said, he got off to that slow start at the
Hmm.
beginning of the year, but really picked it up as the year went on, then had a really good fall as well. Is That's just a guy that doesn't strike out, right? He's not
Yeah.
giving away any at bats whatsoever. If there's a guy on base, that's the guy you want up because he's going to go up there and give you a quality at bat. He's going to put the bat on the ball, and he's not going to go down looking, swinging, or anything. You're going to have to earn that out. That's one thing that I really like about Ethan's game that I think is really going to help this club going into this year.
Yeah, he's really tough to get out. Even facing him in the fall, it's like
Hmm.
every at bat's just a battle. You know,
Yeah,
it's fun to face him, but it's also not fun to face him.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Pretty frustrating, I'd imagine. You think you
very
probably make the
frustrating.
perfect pitch on him, and then he
Yeah,
ends up shooting it up the middle, finding a hole somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
one thing I thought was interesting is your dad played at Mississippi State. Do I have
He
that
did.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So what was that conversation like when you decided to make your way to Oxford?
Yeah, he was very supportive of it, like, throughout the whole thing. He was like, "Yeah, I just want you to be happy wherever you go. I want you to be able to, obviously compete and compete where you want to." But his roommates were not very happy. He
Mhm.
they sent him some mean texts, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
not 'cause
imagine
anything
so.
happened.
There's a little bit of a rivalry there with Ole Miss
Oh,
and
yeah,
Mississippi State
yeah,
baseball, right? Two very proud programs. Mississippi State, even back when your dad played, obviously had a lot of success back then,
yeah.
and has continued it as well. So it's always been a fun rivalry, and it's always fun to find those little connections with players and parents. I talked about that with Will Furnace with him and his dad.
Yeah,
Obviously,
that's right.
you know crushing balls out of Alex Stadium back when he played
Yeah.
way back when. So I always thought that's kind of fun though to find those little
Yeah.
connections. But so going back to last year, kind of the breakout game for you. It wasn't a start. You came in relief, I Bleav, for Grayson Saunier when we played Florida last year, and you really came in and pitched well against one of the better lineups in the entire country. Right, you go
Mhm.
4 innings, 3 earned, 7 strikeouts, and going back to that real big key, no walks in that game,
Yeah.
and that kind of jump started your ascension into the weekend rotation for Ole Miss, basically for the rest of the year after that. Kind of what do you remember about that game, getting into that game and pitching as well as you did, and having to face a guy like Jack Caglianone, right? I mean, that
Mhm.
guy is just he's the Shohei Ohtani of college baseball, right? With the way he
Yeah.
throws it on the mound, and then every time he's up to the plate, he's a threat to lose one over the wall.
Yeah, that was an interesting game. I'm from Florida. I know a bunch of those guys, so
Mhm.
it was kind of like throwing live at bats to some of those guys. Like the second baseman, Cade Curlin.
Mhm.
I went to high school with him for 4 years. Like he's one of my best friends back home. Um, so we had a little like couple exchanges here and there. He almost hit one out off me. Then I struck
Yeah.
him out. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that was a really tough lineup. But I just
Yeah.
remember that day. I was like, I felt really good, and I felt like I could pretty much command the ball wherever I wanted, even though
Mhm.
I gave up a few runs. Just the walks thing. It was like I felt like I could go out there and really compete and
Mhm.
not give up a bunch of free bases and a bunch of free runs, basically.
Yeah.
Because obviously, when you start walking people, it's free runs. You know,
Yeah.
you're just
Yeah.
you're just handing them runs. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. Again, especially against a lineup like that. Again, 27 outs, you don't want to give them any freebies, right? And that's one thing
yeah,
you did a really good job of that day. And I would imagine it was probably a pretty big confidence boost for you too, though, being able to pitch that well against a team of that caliber. Kind of what were your thoughts though the first time you faced Jack Caglianone? He's the odds-on favorite to be the SEC Player of the Year this coming up year, and one of the prohibitive favorites for the Golden Spikes Award winner too for the nation's best player.
yeah.
It had to be a little intimidating looking into that batter's box and seeing him standing there.
Uh, I wouldn't say intimidating. I remember he hit every ball hard
Yeah.
actually before that. I
uh
think he had like 2 home runs at that point, but,
hmm
um, I was like, I just wanna compete again,
Yeah.
like, that's kinda my attitude when I come out and pitch, and, I'm not really scared of anybody or anything, and, um, just, again, throwing the ball in the zone, and if he can hit it, then he's a good hitter.
Yeah.
He's gonna touch up a few balls, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You
Um,
just tip your cap at that point.
yeah, so but, he actually went to my high school as well for a little
Oh,
bit, then he left, so I kinda
okay.
knew him. Yeah. I kinda knew him at that point, just a little bit.
Mhm.
So that was kinda
But
cool facing just a bunch of guys that I knew, and
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, like I said, it was really good. A really good jump start for you for last year, and
yeah,
then you carry that over into the next weekend, and you end up starting at Texas A&M again, and
yeah,
another good, talented ball club. Slosh. He's been doing this for a long time, just like Mike Bianco has. Right.
yeah,
He knows how to
exactly,
build a team. Looks like he's going to have another really talented team again this year.
exactly.
But you go in there and you hold your own in your first SEC road start at A&M. You go 5 innings, 4 earned there. Again, only the one walk, so you're keeping guys off the base path. You're not putting them on. You're making them earn their way. And then the week after that is the real big one, right? We get number 5 Arkansas at Swayze, and
Yeah,
this is another SEC start for you against a team that's always super talented.
mhm,
Van Horn year in and year out always has a top 5 team, and it might have been the best outing of the year for you against that high-powered offense. You go
yeah.
5 innings, 1 earned, and you strike out a career high 8 batters. What was it like in doing that against such a high caliber team in Arkansas, but also doing it in front of the home fans at Swayze?
Yeah, I think the week before, like, A&M, we talked about,
Hmm.
that I had a ton of help from my defense. I think I had 2 or 3 double plays, like, being made. So that gave me a lot of confidence going into the Arkansas game, just being like, "Yeah, these guys can feel behind me. I'm at an SEC level. These guys are not gonna miss.
Yeah.
If I do make a mistake, a guy gets on, I could get a double play, throw out a stolen base."
Hmm.
Um, so I got a lot of confidence from just playing with the guys around me.
Yeah.
Obviously, that I felt good that day. I felt good for kind of that little stretch that I pitched really, like, I wouldn't say really well, but well.
Yeah.
Um, and just I felt good, and Coach Laugh was always giving me really good advice, kind of working on mechanics, fine tuning everything.
Hmm.
So I felt really good throughout that stretch,
Yeah.
and that's something that I kind of wanted to keep up, but we also didn't win those games, obviously, which would
Yeah.
have sealed some series and kind of put us in a much better spot, which also sucks. But
Yeah, yeah, but again, it's all kind of the learning experience they'll go through
exactly,
for the first time,
exactly,
right? And you weren't alone in that, right? You've got
yeah,
Grayson Saunier. We had a couple guys that I thought really emerged out of the bullpen for us towards the latter part of the year last year. I thought C.J. Ketchum pitched really, really well for us, and
yeah,
Braden Jones pitched really well for us as well. Those are two guys that are obviously back again this year. Um, One thing that I've talked a ton about on the show about this upcoming 2024 season is how many guys we have that can get outs, right?
yeah,
A lot of times going into the season, you can basically pencil in the top three starters for the weekend series, right? And then who's going to take over the midweek roles and who's going to have all these different bullpen roles for us, right? But you look in the pen, you get Josh Mallett's back, you got
yeah,
Nichols back, Morrell's back. Talk about Ketchum and Jones, and then you've got guys coming back, Revis, yourself, Sonia. You bring in a guy like Liam Doyle and Kyler Carmack from Arkansas State, and I mean, you look around and it's just arm after arm after arm on this pitching staff, and that's got to be something that is encouraging for y'all as a team, knowing that you have guys up and down this roster that can go get outs instead of Morrell pitched, it seemed, at least every other game, if
yeah,
not every game
right,
last year, right? He was an absolute workhorse for us. Now we don't have to overwork somebody like we did him last year, though, because we have so many quality arms on
yeah,
this team, it looks like.
yeah. There's a ton of guys. It's a ton of returners that again threw big innings for us last year.
Mm.
A lot of people that got put through the fires, as Coach B likes to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, a lot of guys, just that learning experience is so good for us.
Hmm.
And it even helps the freshmen and the new guys that come in because we're able to tell them and explain to them what the SEC is like, what makes you successful, obviously what not to do.
Yeah.
Kinda just the whole thing. It helps everybody, and, um, we have so many returning guys. I think we only lost Jack Doherty, Kimbrel,
Hmm.
from last year, and we're bringing everybody back basically.
Yeah.
So we have another year under our belts, for guys like Nichols and even Riley Maddox.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, Maddox, that's another one I didn't mention
yeah,
somehow. Yeah,
yeah,
coming
yeah,
back from his Tommy John surgery, he
yeah,
was
and he
absolutely dynamite as a freshman before he
yeah,
got hurt.
yeah, and he looks really good this fall. Like, everybody had a really good fall, it seems like.
Mhm.
So it's really exciting just being able to be like, yeah, these guys, if I do have an off day or whatever, I have the confidence that these guys are going to shut the game down and
Yeah, yeah,
they're
and
going to be able to, yeah,
and then kind of like talk about the starting rotation. Usually we can pencil in, three names that's going to take over for us on the weekend.
yeah,
You've got you and Revis and Sony. Liam Doyle's a guy that I have high expectations for. I
yeah,
thought he pitched really well at Coastal last year, and if you can pitch even remotely good at Coastal with that launching pad, then you
yeah,
basically get
exactly.
anywhere else, and your numbers are going to regress back to the means a little bit in a positive way, which I
Yeah,
think we're really going to see with Liam. It looked like this staff really put talking about Bianco and the guys put an emphasis on getting more lefties on
yeah,
this team, right? That was one thing. Not only last year, really the year before too, that we really just didn't have a lot of lefties to bring in situational spots in the game, and that's one thing that they went out and tried to really focus on to get multiple lefties on this pitching staff to kind of play the matchups a little bit.
yeah. I think that helps everybody.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's going to help the right-handed pitchers to be able to come in after a lefty and kind of mix themselves up instead of everybody being right-handed pitcher,
Yeah.
fastball in the low 90s, a slider.
Yeah. Same thing over and
Yeah,
over again,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
You're not really mixing it up at that point.
Yeah, there's it's not really an adjustment being made by the hitters. It's
Hmm.
kind of the same guy being thrown over and over and over.
Yeah.
Um, so I also think it helps the hitters just being able to face lefties in the fall in the spring inter squads and be able to see left-handed pitching before the
Hmm.
season. Because it seemed like whenever we faced a lefty last year, we had a way tougher time.
Yeah, we did.
Um, and I think that's probably because we just didn't face any in fall. We didn't face any high
Mhm.
level arms that um, lefties
Yeah.
kind of because Hunter was out.
Yeah.
Revis and Kimber were the only guys.
Yeah. Yeah. That was it. Those are the only two lefties we really
Yeah.
had this year.
So I mean, we have probably close to 8
Yeah.
right now. I think. I think
Uh-huh.
we
Yeah.
have 8. So
Yeah.
I mean, it looks really good. A
Yeah.
bunch of lefties. They're young too.
Mhm.
So it could be really good. I'm
Yeah.
really excited about it.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. So here in we're recording this on a Tuesday. I think we're 31 days away, if I'm not mistaken,
31.
from the opening of the baseball
Mm.
season. And y'all have a really interesting opening weekend. Y'all get to travel out to Hawaii for a 4 game set. How excited are you about getting out there? You ever been to Hawaii before?
Never been to Hawaii. Farthest I've been is probably San Fran, but
Okay.
not excited for the travel. Definitely not excited for the travel. I heard it's close to 11 hours.
Yeah.
But getting out there, that's gonna be exciting. I think that's a really cool thing that we get to experience.
Hmm.
Obviously, not a lot of teams get to experience it, so
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool opportunity that they gave us and something that we could, I guess, talk about for a lot of years.
Yeah, yeah, and it really works because February at Swayze, the weather's not going to be quite as nice as it's probably going to be out there
Yeah,
on the island, right?
exactly.
We're probably still going to be in the 30s here trying to
Yeah,
play baseball that opening weekend. So y'all get a little bit of warmer weather to
exactly.
get the season off to a right off on the right foot.
Yeah,
So right before we hopped on, I noticed that Division 1 baseball had put out their preseason top 25 going into this year. I never put a whole lot of stock into the preseason rankings. Even last year, we were up to number 4 going into the year, right? And
yeah, yeah.
so we didn't make the Division 1 top 25 preseason poll, which again is fine.
Mhm.
We have plenty of opportunities to work our way up into the polls. What I found interesting was how hard the schedule is this year, which is no
Oh, yeah.
surprise playing in the SEC. But I was just going down looking at it. We get home series against number 8 Texas A&M, 19 Alabama, 20 Iowa in the non-con. Right, that's a big
Yeah,
non-conference game at Swayze Field, and then open up SEC play against number 25 South Carolina. But my gosh, these road series, man! You go to number 3 Arkansas, to number 9 Tennessee, and
yeah,
then you finish out the year in Baton Rouge against the defending champions. Right?
yeah,
You just look up and down this schedule, and kind of like you talked about last year, y'all experienced it. It is just an absolute grind, week in,
yeah.
week out. There's absolutely no days off in this conference.
Yeah, Coach B always talks about this is not a grind. But it really is a grind. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of what he says. It's not a
Hmm.
grind, but it really is a grind.
Hmm.
We're going to be facing some of the best competition, but that's what we all came here for
That's
ultimately.
right.
Like
Yeah.
this is what we all dreamed of since we were kids, playing against the best competition, the best hitters, the best pitchers, all that. And being able to go to places like Arkansas or LSU, like
Yeah.
I watched that since I was kids, like I was a kid. So
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
exciting. And
Yeah.
even I think
That's
go
just
ahead.
always one of the fun things when I talk to players that aren't from this area, from like even
Mhm.
from the South. Um, they never quite fully understand how big college baseball is down here
Yeah,
until they get down here and they go to a place like Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas, LSU, and they see these crowds that
yeah,
are there every single weekend just to watch college baseball, drawing anywhere from 11 all the way up to 15,000 people for a
yeah,
game, right?
yeah.
It's just something you don't get anywhere else besides the Southeast.
No, you really don't. Like it's really special being able to play it like the place like Mississippi State last year.
Hmm.
It didn't go our way, but God, that was cool. Like
Yeah.
they hit a walk off in front of 17,000 people, and it's deafening.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I don't think there's anything like SEC baseball now.
Hmm.
Look at the numbers and um, just the fan attendance is just by far the best. It's pretty awesome. Even seeing Swayze on the average is like 10,000 or something like that. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it's shocking and
Hmm.
it's pretty awesome just seeing that. So I'm really excited about it. Just being able to go these kind of prolific places like
Yeah.
LSU and going to the box. Um, that's
Yeah.
pretty sick. And then Arkansas, obviously, heard a lot about Arkansas.
Hmm.
So that's gonna be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And even outside of teams like we've just mentioned with Arkansas, LSU, Tennessee, A&M, Alabama's on the rise. They're
Yeah,
looking like they're going to be a pretty good team this year. You still have teams on the schedule like Auburn, a
yeah,
team that's made Omaha 2 out of the last 3 years. Always a really good team, and
yeah,
Georgia is a team that I think will be a good bit improved over what you've seen the last couple of
yeah.
years. And they're on our schedule again. You pitched against them last year. They have a pretty good third baseman there in Athens named
Yeah, he's all right.
Charlie Condon, right?
He's okay. Yeah,
That dude can absolutely rake. What do
yeah.
you remember about facing him last year?
Uh, he didn't. I don't think he had a very good series against us. He was.
He
I think he struggled a little bit.
Yeah,
But I mean, you could just tell he's 6'5" in the box. He's a big boy.
he is. Yeah.
Um, and then I think he did when he did hit one. It was pretty impressive.
Mhm.
It was like watching Kemp.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
just blasting balls out of here. So
yeah. That's I'm actually glad you brought that up. So what is it like watching Kemp Alderman take BP?
I can't even describe. Like, there's nothing to compare it to. Like, there's nobody that hits balls like that. Like, we'd see BP or somebody. He hit one in. I think it was a Pizza Bowl that we played in last year. That was hit like the top of the scoreboard and like bounced over it. We're like, how is that? I didn't even know that was humanly possible. Like
Well,
that.
it's not for anybody else.
Yeah, I don't know if it is, but it was pretty awesome just seeing how hard he hits baseballs.
I know, and it's every time too. Like
It's
he
every
never
time.
misses one, right?
No.
I mean, I remember one was a single right between the shortstop and the second baseman, and I think it ended up being 117, 118 mile an hour screamer, right? I mean, and it just absolutely would have killed somebody if
Yeah,
they were in front of it. So I'm
you
glad he found a hole that day because
yeah,
that would have hurt somebody real bad
yeah,
there. It's just incredible how he consistently does it though over and over and
yeah,
over again.
yeah,
He's just one of those where it sounds different every time he makes
yeah,
contact.
and you get scared for the third baseman over there because he loves to go over there with it. He
Yeah,
loves
yeah.
to pull
I
some baseballs.
I think I'd have to make an executive decision and
Yeah,
decide to shift. Like
b big
I'm
shift.
going up to the sit
Yeah,
to the second baseman there, and
get
I
it
don't
out for
care
you.
that he's a righty, right?
Yeah,
I'm still going to shift. No, no, coach, he's going to try to poke through the hole over there.
yeah,
We need to move down a little bit.
trust me, he will, yeah, no,
Yeah.
he won't. Just get me out of
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So, all right, buddy. Well, that's really all I got for you today.
Yeah,
I really appreciate you jumping on and doing this for me.
for
You know,
sure.
I know that there's a lot of Ole Miss baseball fans out there. We're a huge fan base. We love our baseball. And kind of, to wrap things up, kind of what are your expectations for this year? I know all Ole Miss baseball fans are. Our expectations going into every single year is, to fight our tails off, and by the time everything's said and done, we're playing more games in Swayze in the postseason, right? That you
Yeah,
want to host a
exactly.
regional, and you want to keep going through the postseason and get back to Omaha, right? That's really the end
Yeah.
goal every single year, I think.
Yeah, we wanna host a regional, host a super, get to Omaha ultimately.
Yeah.
And there's
Right.
obviously ways to do that, and that means we have to win more games at Swayze because I
Mhm.
mean, we all know the statistic, like, I think we're 19 and 40 over the last 2 years or something like that. We really wanna change that.
Mhm.
That's something we owe the fans, really.
Yeah.
Um, they come out here every year and there's 10,000 of them at every game.
Mhm.
So it's something that we owe to them that we have to win more games there.
Yeah.
That's something that we really wanna do. That's a big goal for us. Um, and then obviously hosting a regional. That's something I don't think we've done in, what, 3, 4 years now?
Yeah. Yeah. Something like
Yeah.
that.
I think we played Florida State last time with Doug Nikhazy, and that was the
Yeah.
last time we did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Dude, Doug was so much fun to watch.
yeah.
He might have been my favorite pitcher to watch get up on
Oh,
the
yeah.
mound. you know, DeLucia, he really got close there his
Yeah,
last year because
that's
he
for
was
sure.
so unreal during that national championship
Yeah,
run. But I'm not sure anybody fired me up the way Doug Nikhazy did, because you knew as soon as he stepped on the mound if he was in the zone or not. And 95%
yeah,
of the time he was in the
yeah,
zone, and
yeah.
you weren't touching him that day.
No, and he's somebody we always talk about too. Like we want that mentality. We want,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna go get this guy. I don't really care what it takes. I don't care who he is. I don't care anything.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring my stuff and I'm gonna compete and I'm gonna blow you away. Hopefully, you
yeah.
know
I'm just gonna get up here and I'm gonna be better than you.
exactly.
I
And
mean,
he never,
that was his mindset every
yeah,
single time, it seemed like.
yeah. And that's what we want. That's what all of us strive for, and it's something really hard to replicate, obviously, because
Yeah.
there's not been many Doug Nikazis, but
No,
um,
no, they don't fall off trees very often.
no, not very often. But
So, but
yeah,
look, we're really excited to see you and Revis and Sonia and these guys get back up on the mound. You know, we know what Ole Miss pitchers, the legacy that it holds to be a starting pitcher at Ole Miss. I know y'all know it as well. You know, you don't need somebody on the other end of the computer screen telling you how important it is and how much success that those guys usually have up there. And uh, you're one of the ones that I'm really looking forward to. Like I said, I expect you to be our Friday night guy, be that ace, and get every weekend started off on a good note like Doug did when he was here. You know, when he took the ball and he got on the mound, we started every series 1-0, and you know
yeah,
before a pitch was ever thrown, that's just the way it was.
yeah,
He was an absolute ace, and I look forward to watching you take that jump into that next level. Like so many pitchers before you have under Mike Bianco and this incredible coaching staff. And look forward to fans getting out there, like you said, feeling Swayze every single
yeah,
game. You know, you mentioned you wanted to do y'all's part for the fans winning more games at home. The fans need to make sure they keep doing their part, showing up every single game as well, though, because I think between you know all the guys we've got coming back, all the new faces we have in this program, I think this has the potential to be a very, very good team, and
I
we
agree.
could be set up for a real special season here in 2024. And I just can't wait to get it going.
I can't either. Like you said, 31 days,
Yeah,
working with
yeah,
every single one of them. So
that's right. That's right.
really
All right,
excited.
buddy. Well, again, I appreciate the hell out of your time. This was a lot of fun. I
Yeah,
know a lot of people are really going to enjoy hearing from you, and we'll catch up again sometime, either later on in the year or something like that. But if I don't
perfect.
talk to you before the season gets started, man, good luck, and can't wait to see you out there.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having
All
me on. Yes,
all right,
sir.
buddy. Howdy
Yeah.
toddy.
All right. Thank you. Yes, sir. Howdy
Thank
toddy.
you.
All right.